Welcome to Beautiful Salvage. Grab a drink to sip while you watch this special holiday edition where we are celebrating traditions in the kitchen. If you have watched us before, we are normally in the workshop creating decor from junk, but today we are sharing our family tradition of making lefse for the holidays.
Hello!
Welcome to Beautiful Salvage. Today we are doing something fun and way different than what we normally do. We are going to share with you how we make lefse. So this has been a tradition in our family for a really long time. We're part Norwegian. I don't know what else. What else are we? I know
Swedish.
Swedish. I'm German too because
I don't have any of that.
I'm their niece. So if those of you who haven't watched before, this is Julie, I'm Amy, and this is Angie, and they're both my aunts, and we do lots of fun things together. We create from junk, and today we are going to be making lefse. So this is a special thing for the holidays, and Angie has taught me a few new things about lefse this year. She usually makes lefse in a different way, so we are going to share 2 different ways of making lefse. So Angie, what's your recipe like this morning?
Well, my recipe is supposed to be the greatest recipe.
Oh, you think?
I'm telling you. But it's really not my recipe, it's my Auntie Isla's. So it's my auntie's recipe, and she did it with instant potatoes. So she used to be the Lefse Queen of Trinity Lutheran Church in Brainerd. So I'm going to use instant potato flakes and use that in my recipe. So
okay.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
No peeling.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot easier way than what I traditionally grew up using. We peeled the normal russet potatoes and riced them, and then added all your ingredients after the potatoes have cooled. So we'll give both of them a whirl, and maybe we'll compare the
taste.
Yeah.
Well, my aunt was always very competitive with her lefse, so.
Oh, are you competitive too?
Yes, a little.
Oh no, I'm not very competitive.
I always taste.
If mine doesn't turn out, it's my ancestors' fault. All right, well, let's get started.
Okay. The first thing you do is you boil 7½ cups of water in the pot, and then you take 3/4 of a pound of butter and melt it in there.
While the water was coming to a boil along with the butter, Angie prepared her potato flake mixture. The 2 lefse recipes that we use today will be in the description below.
So we're going to melt that down, and then we're going to add that to the potatoes when it's melted down. Okay, Isla says to use 1 pound box of Idaho potatoes. When I went shopping for my potatoes last night, I couldn't find Idaho potatoes. I know that she preferred that, but I am going to go with a Betty Crocker. But there is a problem. It's not a 1 pound box. So you're going to have to add to it. So I'm going to add another cup of potato flakes that I had, just to make sure I have enough. Okay, and with that, she also said use Carnation instant milk. 3 cups of that, and mix that in there. But I'm using the generic brand. To me, it didn't make a difference, And I'm a old-fashioned measurer. I don't get really particular. You add a tablespoon of salt. Now I put in less only because I use salted butter, and I don't want it to be too salty. So if you use unsalted butter, you can use the whole tablespoon. So then just mix that up real good so you got a mixture, and then we're going to pour the boiling water in that. And once we do that, then it has to cool, and she said her recipe says overnight. Now you could do it during the day too, because just make sure it's real cold. So we're going to pour the hot water in there and then fluff it up and then cool it down, and then it'll be ready for the flour. Okay, here it goes. Make sure you don't burn yourself. I'm just going to pour it in there. And then we start fluffing, and they'll start expanding. Just look like regular mashed potatoes. They're all fluffed up there, nice. Now they'll have to cool down. and then we'll just add the flour to it. So it's pretty simple. This recipe, I'm going to use my fingers rather than the mixer. And I'm going to add 2 cups of flour. Then I add some of the second cup, and then just kind of leave it and see how it feels. Maybe roll one piece of lefse out, and then see if that rolls out nicely. And then if it does, you don't need to add any more flour. But if it doesn't, if it sticks, then I'll add the rest of the flour.
So that was an easy way of preparing lefse dough. Now I will show you my family's traditional way of preparing lefse dough, which is a little bit more labor intensive. We start with a 5-pound bag of russet potatoes. I peel, rinse, and cut the potatoes just like you're getting ready to make mashed potatoes. I make sure all my potatoes are covered with water and boil them until they are soft. I drain them and let them cool down just a bit. After years of using an old-fashioned ricer, I finally got a fruit and vegetable strainer KitchenAid attachment that saves so much time on ricing. The attachment is pretty easy to put together and can be used for many other things as well, such as making applesauce. It is time to rice potatoes. Now you obviously could just use the mashed potatoes like we saw previously in Angie's recipe, but we did notice a difference in how well the lefse seemed to bubble when cooking. This is because during ricing, air is added to the potatoes, making them more fluffy, and when cooking the lefse, you get air bubbles in your dough, which adds the perfect lefse texture. After ricing my potatoes, I let them get cold in the refrigerator for about 8 hours. Now it is time to add my ingredients. I started with my whisk attachment on my mixer and added 4 cups of the cold riced potatoes, 3 tablespoons of shortening, and 3 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. I mix this until everything is just evenly dispersed. It looks like my mixer is on high, but this video is sped up for time's sake. I definitely would not recommend mixing at a high speed. In a separate bowl, I mix 2 cups of flour with 1 tablespoon of salt. Normally at this point, I switched to my dough hook on the mixer, but it was unavailable, so I tried the beater attachment. It seemed to work okay, but I did end up kneading the dough with my hands. I add half the flour mixture, and once that is mixed well, I add the second half of the flour mixture. Once everything is evenly mixed, I form little lefse dough patties. Now that we have showed you 2 ways of making lefse dough, we will show you how to cook it into its yummy goodness.
We go about our rolling process. My brother-in-law Troy, Amy's dad, made these beautiful lefse rolling boards, and we have a little cover to go on there so that they roll a little easier, a nice pastry cloth. And then we have nice little stickers on the bottom to keep the board from moving a lot when we do our rolling. And then we have our rolling pins. We have quite a variety here today. In order to keep the rolling pin from getting all gunked up when we roll and to make a nice smooth piece of lefse, we put a little cover on our rolling pin, covers it up. And then when we roll, we use lots of flour so everything rolls nice and smooth. Little flour to the cloth, move it around, put that in the middle. I like to dust my rolling pin a little bit too. And then just kind of a back and forth motion.
We kind of dive our rolling pins into the middle of the dough, rolling from the middle out in all directions. Once we've rolled a medium-sized lefse, we flip it over and roll it again on the other side. Using a corrugated lefse rolling pin allows the pin to cut through the dough and become very thin. The pin cover also allows for smooth rolling and also cuts down on the amount of flour needed to keep the dough from sticking.
My dad used to let us know if we didn't roll them thin enough. So
You should be able to see the
right, you should be able to see.
the words.
Can you see the print through the piece of lefse. Oh, and it even slid, so it's. I'm gonna go a little thinner.
If you mess up and get that stuck to that fabric, it's a pain.
Yeah, you don't want to get it stuck.
Do it the rest of the way, so make sure you have enough flour, but not too much.
Okay, so then, my mom was an expert at just picking it up with her fingers and throwing it onto the griddle. But we have these nice sticks for picking it up and for flipping it. Slide it under there, bring it to the griddle, just roll it on there.
The Lefse griddle should be set to about 450 degrees. Being very attentive and watching the browning of the Lefse is crucial. Once the Lefse is light brown around the edges, it is ready to be flipped. We transfer the hot Lefse into a flour sack towel. Covering the pieces with the towel prevents the bread from losing too much moisture. Get your boards ready! Ready, set, roll! I'm going over. Stop shooting! Done making lefse for today.
We've only done about 60 of them.
Yeah.
How many hours? 3?
We started about 8 o'clock. And
It's 2 hours? 2
2 hours? Yeah.
Wow,
So
we're good.
we really did a lot in a couple hours.
Put in the comments below what your favorite Thanksgiving traditions are and what you like to put on your lefse.
Ooh, yeah. Personally, I like to put butter and sugar.
Butter and sugar, that's our tradition.
Yeah.
I like butter and sugar too, but my husband likes cranberries.
Yeah, I can see cranberries.
Cranberry sauce.
Yeah, so there might be different ways that you like to do your lefse. We'd love to hear about that. And if you liked what you saw today, don't forget to give this video a like and share it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching and have a beautiful day. Bye! Cheers!
Cheers. Download the mix.